have done this take so many times. Please tell me that I scared you. Please. But you know it isn't scary. The giveaway I have until October 31st on Halloween. All you gotta do is like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll enter you in a chance to win a gift card to anywhere you want. It'll be like $50. So enter it. Let's get it. Halloween. Some call it the devil's holiday filled with murder and witchcraft. Others call it Halloween, and I probably butchered that British accent, but that's okay, because I'm British. Check my ancestry results. You clicked on this video to find out why Christians should be celebrating on Halloween, or Halloween. And in order for me to get to reasons why, I need to tell you about the roots of Halloween, or Hallows Eve. Before we should get into that, it should be noted that Halloween is never mentioned in the Bible and is pretty much a Western tradition. So as far as the Bible goes, Halloween is not mentioned. Is none. Halloween began 1900 years ago in a place where my ancestors lived, in England, Ireland, and northern France. We celebrated the Celtic tradition of Samhain, and I know I butchered that, so I'm sorry if you're Irish, let me know how to pronounce it. And the holiday of Samhain was on November 1st, and as you know, Halloween in America is on October 31st. Now, yes, it was full of witchcraft, worshipping other gods. It was full of seriously tons of wacky things, and they believed that on November 1st, the dead would come up. And it's another cool thing to note that throughout all cultures around this time of year, we have a lot of dead people rising. So Cinco de Mayo in Mexican culture is a good example of that. So once the missionaries came and they evangelized and, they started converting a lot of the Irish people, the Samhain holiday really fell out of popularity. And so the Pope at that time decided to make November 1st, that pagan holiday, now a Christian holiday, in order to bring pagans and Christians together, which is what the church should be doing, bringing non-believers and believers together. And he did this because he wanted to make it easier for the locals to convert to Christianity. And that's how Halloween came to be. There's literally tons of history about it, but that was the summarized version of it, and that's how it came to be. And as you can tell, for the most part, it's pretty Christian. The goal was to evangelize, and they even put it on a pagan holiday because they wanted to evangelize. In a sense, I think the Pope at the time was trying to purify it. Or at least that's what I would think. So far, I personally don't see any reason not to celebrate Halloween. But let's keep going. What do you think of when you think of Halloween? I think of trick-or-treating, pumpkin carving, and getting lots and lots of candy. That's going to cause me cavities for the next 9 months till the next year. So we'll start with trick-or-treating, pumpkin carving, and candy, and I thought it would be cool to kind of tell you guys the roots of how all those traditions came to be. So trick-or-treating. Now, trick-or-treating started in Ireland when poor people would knock on the doors of rich people, and they would ask for prayers of their relatives or anybody dead that they knew in exchange for them giving them a soul cake. Here's what would happen. Actual representation. Hello, I have a soul cake for you. I would like prayers for my dead family. Boom. That's exactly what they would say. And then, the rich people would pray, and then the poor people would give their soul cakes to them. Now, where did costumes come in? Because, when you trick-or-treat now, you gotta have your costumes. Side note, what should I go this year? I'm not sure. I don't go trick-or-treating, but I like to dress up anyway. So, what should I dress up as? I'm thinking, like, Optimus Prime or Aquaman. I really like Aquaman. And so dressing up was known as guising. Short, where you get it now from disguise is probably where you've heard it from. So young people would go guising. What the young people do is they would go guising, and they would knock on the doors and they'd perform a trick, right? Some people would juggle. Some people would tell a funny joke, for example. Some people would tell stories. Sorry, itchy my eye. Sorry. In exchange, they would get a treat. Instead of getting candy like we have now in America, us, putting sugar in everything, they would hand out fruits, some nuts sometimes, some vegetables. I wouldn't want to have gone tricking, or guising is what it's called, because I wouldn't want candy. I'm a big candy guy. Specifically, Skittles are my favorite. So that was the roots of trick-or-treating. Now let's go to the second one I thought of, which was pumpkin carving. And this one's kind of cool. I really like this one, especially because it relates to my heritage. My ancestors in Ireland, they would carve out turnips, okay? Turnips, or I think they're called gourds. So turnips or gourds, in order to ward off the evil spirits. That's why they look a little scary. They were designed to be that way. That was the goal. They were gone to ward off the spirits. So when Irish people migrated all the way to America, they brought that tradition, but we don't have lots of turnips or gourds. Instead, we have pumpkins. And so they would carve out the pumpkins, and they would use it to ward off the evil spirits, and it just caught on, so now everybody does it. For Scottish kids, they would carry around these little tiny turnips in their pockets called bogies. Yeah, not the stuff you shoot in Call of Duty. Bogies, little tiny turnips. And these turnips would ward off witches. So if they felt the witch was in their presence, they would, get the bogey out. They get the bogey, and That's how they would handle it. So bogies were used to ward off witches, and pumpkins were used to ward off evil spirits. And so lastly, the candy part. And as we kind of discussed before, when young people go guising, they wouldn't get your typical cavity-filled, high fructose corn syrup, unhealthy snacks. They would get fruits like apples and all that things. But Americans love our sweets, so we now give out all kinds of sugary candy that parents have to pay for the next year. That was a stupid joke. I don't even know why I said that. Should Christians celebrate Halloween? I think absolutely. But it comes down to why you're celebrating. So if you're celebrating Halloween because you want to participate and you want to get drunk with your friends or smoke with your friends or anything, then I wouldn't recommend celebrating Halloween. And if you're a Christian who does that, I would say no, sorry. But I would say there is an alternative. Why don't you be the light at the end of the tunnel? Why don't you be the light in the darkness for your friend group? So invite people who are, believers of Christ and non-believers of Christ, and just invite them and say, okay, I'm throwing this big party. Big party. We're going to have tons of energy drinks. It's going to be a blast. That would be a good way. But it all comes down to why you're celebrating it. If you're celebrating it, like I said before, because you're arranging a neighborly get-together, then of course celebrate Halloween. That's what God wants us to do. He said, love your neighbors, you love yourself. But if you're celebrating it for the wrong reasons and not trying to evangelize with it, or just celebrating it just because, then I wouldn't celebrate it. The goal of the holiday was to evangelize with people. That was literally the goal of the holiday. And I'm not saying you should go out, sit outside your house, and give people get out of hell free cards, which I happened to get on my car a while back. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is find an opportunity to bring your Christian friends and bring your non-Christian friends together and just have a good time. Because ultimately, as we've said on this channel so many times before, and especially in college, the way you act is way more important than what you say. And if you're acting in a Christian way on a holiday where, a lot of non-Christians celebrate and do the wrong things, then that's going to go a lot farther. And I would highly encourage you guys to do that. So make sure to enter, like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, it's JT from the College Christian Gang. Peace out.